Hello, friends. It's Johnster Monster of episode 237, The Shadow and Flame of Magic, your premier Kitty Pryde Lockheed and Magic podcast. We're going to continue our Dark Web coverage of Dark Web X-Men number two, my favorite issue of the entire crossover. And we're going to lead off with the season two, episode four of X-Men 97, Rise of Apocalypse Part 2. And then we're going to spoil the heck out of this week's comics of X-Men 97 Season 2, 2, Uncanny X-Men Volume 6, 31, Jeff the Landshark Superstar, and Wolverine Volume 8, 23. Um, hey, I had to embarrassingly continue a guest I was going to have on because the summers are notoriously tight for our family. My wife teaches, which is a honorable profession, but the summers are tight and Zoom Pro is expensive when you're trying to, you know, pinch. But if you know a recording service that lets you record for an hour, because I didn't want the embarrassing moment of being like, hey, it's at the 20-minute mark. Can we wrap this up? Like, it's a scene. And maybe it'd be naturally that long anyways, but my anxiety, I'm like, I don't want that awkwardness. But if you know a recording service that lets you do an hour for free, let me know. Reach out on Blue Sky or however you want to contact me, because I would love to not do that. And plus, I have, anyways, it was just one of those awkward things on a Tuesday, felt great. And then on a Friday, I was like, this is embarrassing. But the guest was very nice and understanding, but also just in my head. And it's hard to maintain a buzz when realities of adulthood slaps you down for a bit. But anyways, curious if there's other recording things. I like Zoom. It does what I need it to do when it's just solo me, but I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Gotta swallow some pride there, which is never really a thing. I like to think I'm not that proud. I mean, clearly I wasn't. I own up to it, but just I don't know, of a sorts. I was gonna do it at the end, but then I was thinking about it and I was like, hey, I don't know if people make it to the end. There's a podcast I love, and as soon as they start doing plugs for themselves, I'm like, I've heard it before. I see there's 2 minutes left. I'm ready for the next podcast. But um, anyways. All right, everyone. X-Men 97 Season 2, Episode 4, Rise of Apocalypse Part 2. Xavier says that previously on the X-Men. It's a 34-minute long episode. The cast credits still the past X-Men. And Nord lost his lieutenant to Kang's giant explosion, or Ravatut, if you will. Bo DeMeo is still co-writing. Magneto with his Lyswell mission. Um, Xavier explains time travel to Nor. I like Magneto comparing his current mission with Bishop's original mission. Um, with all this time travel, you think they could maybe time travel Genosha, but we know Cable attempt to do that hundreds of times. I can't believe Magneto destroyed the bands. Xavier does end up explaining the future and the X-Men to Nor. This is surely going to work out okay. Poor baby Nor was born with those blue lips. We get a great montage of Apocalypse origins. This episode could have been called The X-Men: The Lost Temple of Time, maybe. Bishop hasn't adopted a past outfit yet. Rogue having a special relationship with Nor with all the potential villains even. Nord hasn't ever known love, which he considers a weakness, which is heartbreaking. Ramatut is making a connection with Xavier. We get names for him, Nathaniel, Victor, and Kang, so that's fun. Xavier got to say the word conquest, and that's also fun. We get some Celestials. I do question if Magneto had to destroy the time bands. Seems like he could have just asked for 48 hours. The Lost Temple actually ship, Apocalypse's future ship. The X-Men are carvings on the wall. Xavier is trying to communicate telepathically with Magneto, but he's wearing his helmet. Rutro Nor knows what his destiny is and does not appreciate having the X-Men take it from him. Nor saying he's always been the fittest to survive is awesome. Nor versus the X-Men, it does not last that long. Yeah, Magneto probably doesn't have shouldn't have broken those time bands. He thought if they broke them, it made them time committed to or plot committed to getting to Rabatut's base, and then surely they'd be able to get home from there. But it seems like they shouldn't have done that. Celestial gives Nor his mission statement. Nor receives his Sailor Moon moment and to become Apocalypse. Beast does fix the time bands. I love Bishop being so angry and disappointed that the X-Men want to stay behind. Magneto forces the time bounds on everyone. Wait, so this is where I'm like, is Magneto staying behind? I wrote these thoughts and now I'm like, wait, I should have written them however. So these are my bullet points. So then I start wondering if Magneto's going to be the Force Horseman. He was Nate Gray's Horseman of Salvation. He was Peace. And then I'm like, wait, did Xavier stay behind? It's not nice to ship to apologize to Xavier. Robert Tut's escaping. He put on his King outfit. That's awesome. He references the gal companion of his was the Eternal. Apocalypse wastes no time learning how to use his shape-shifting powers. Apocalypse told Xavier he lacks a spine to be a horseman. That's pretty cutting. Magneto going. Oh yeah, then Magneto. There's a black hole, and Magneto seems like he's gonna die to try to collapse the black hole. Um, and then I'm like, well, if Magneto just destroy a ship, wouldn't that change the future? Magneto tosses Xavier to super safety. Um, and then I'm like, well, maybe the black hole will collapse with Magneto coming into it, and that's how he ends up in the present. But then no. Apocalypse comes to just finish the job. We see Xavier like belly crawling to Magneto, which is intense. And then Magneto gives this big monologue to Xavier, and he has like his foot ready to step on him, and he deems him not even worthy of that, which is like episode two is still my favorite, but four shows us again like we are uh like we're playing for keeps again. Um, Heartbreaking Magneto and Xavier's final words to each other is just farewell or is sorry. Like, ugh. Xavier cuts pretty low with making comments about Apocalypse's mama. Um, and then I'm like, well, how's Xavier going to make it home? And then we see Bishop has stayed behind, and then that they never stop Magneto. So then, like, what does Magneto do now? Right, write all their names down and start trying to kill them as babies? And then we get a mid-credit scene. The Madripoor Knights from Uncanny X-Men 268, Black Widow in her classic gray outfit, which was the outfit she like the first time I ever saw her was in a Marvel um was it Fleer or Tops? But they had Marvel cards and the Black Widow I saw was her in a cool all gray jumpsuit with like a leather jacket. And I was like, who's this? Um with the short red hair. It was quite the striking look. And then Captain America's there, of course. They almost stand in the pose with Wolverine from that cover, but Logan's is getting the band back together for Weapon X slides and DVDs, which is the next episode. Hopefully, we haven't missed other mid-credit scenes, but I love the idea of just doing that. Um, But yeah, that was episode two. Like they definitely changed the future by killing Magneto, but not really because that was the present day Magneto. So I don't know how we're gonna come back from that. But because I mean he can bring a Puck or Gambit back to life, but to pull Magneto all the way from ancient Egypt to bring back to life as an horseman seems a bit much. But I can only imagine They greenlit seasons 3 and 4 of X-Men 97, and they're going to make them not be so long apart. So one will imagine we're going to get signs of, hey, everyone, here are a bunch of characters. We're going to use these characters in the live action movie, but I don't know. I think about the MCU X-Men a bunch and like, well, we got to have Miss Marvel in there. Probably have X-23 in there, and then cast who you will. Ideally, you do a montage of the original five X-Men, and then as like a origins of the X-Men, you give us the present day team. And I mean, I'd be just happy if Kitty Pryde's in on it. But, you know, be great if Magic was there as well. And Nightcrawler and Cyclops and Rogue. Um, Storm. Trying to think who else was part of the Paul Smith era. That's it. I think that's Cyclops, Storm, Madeline Pryor, Kitty, Kurt. I'm naturally swapping out Colossus for Magic. Yeah, that's everybody. I'm like, there's gotta be a missing person. No, that's it. So then, Dark Web X-Men #2. We have the beginnings of a Charlie horse, so I'm hoping that just works itself out. Um, so this came out February 2023. It was written by Jerry Duggan, artist by Rod Rice and Phil Noto. VC's Corey Pettit does the lettering, and Tom Muir with Jay Bowen do the design. And VC's Corey Pettit did production. Lauren O'Mara is the associate editor. Jordan D. White, the editor, and CBC Belsey, editor in chief. I got the um Phil Noto cover. And um what was I gonna say before all that? Oh, did I already say it? Oh, I was gonna say if you follow my TikTok and YouTube channels at Jacko SII, you can follow along as well as on Sunday. It's like 12 images from this issue, but I'm gonna shorten the video so maybe it's quicker and maybe that's okay to copyright. I don't know. I keep expecting to at one point get a cease and desist, but also I'm not that. I appreciate the audience I have found and the tight audience it is. And thank you so much, everyone who watches and listens and reaches out and gives the comments. Makes me so happy just to know that anyone's listening. And um, and I see other people on TikTok, like they make videos too that are similar to mine. So I'm like, I should be fine, but I do get self-conscious about how many images is okay, but I think I'm okay. Anyways, so this came out February 23, previously on X-Men. Madeline Pryor is the clone of Jean Grey, aka Marvel Girl, the X-Men. Together with Ben Reilly, clone of Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, the two have taken their harbored resentments at having to live in their duplicate shadows and have unleashed the hell onto New York City. Madame Pryor has captured both Summers brothers, throwing them into their dungeons in Limbo, while elsewhere, Jean Grey and Magic find themselves trapped in the nightmare landscape at Madeline's mercy. Meanwhile, back in Manhattan, the X-Men have their hands full as demons continue to overrun Midtown. And whenever I think of Dark Web, it's this issue I always think of. Like Phil Noto does these dreamscape sequences that just define the era for me. We get a data page of Mr. Sinister saying the Summers are their own worst enemies. I see to it that's true. And we open up with Madeline having a fantasy of what her and baby Nathan could have been like. Madeline Pryor's dreams always start so happy. They are happy days that never came to be. Taking her son Nathan to the zoo or the beach. In these dreams, he is happy, but that happiness never holds. Even in her dreams, she loses him. But when she wakes, she still has her waking nightmare to look forward to. It's no wonder she holds a grudge against Scott, against Jean, against the world. She has born to breed and then be cast aside. Ugh. I love Madeline Pryor so much. Possibly Paul Smith's second greatest creation behind Lockheed? Perhaps. I'll listen to that argument. We lost Stan Lee previously, which means that we're going to lose Steve Ditko soon after, right? Still wild those two passed away in leadership. Um, just like the Team Rocket, James and Jesse passing after one after the other, like just when you meet a partner, like ugh. In the present, near the treehouse in New York City, home of the X-Men, currently being invaded by Madden Pryor's limbo defenses, we see Forge is blasting Goblin dudes, and then Sync is working on getting them um people to safety because Madden Pryor made a deal with Magic where she can take control of Limbo, but she can't attack Krakoa, so the treehouse is safe. Maddie lost and lost. How long does she think she would sit back and take it? Which is a great homage to House of X1, where Scott says a very similar line to Sue Richards of the Fantastic Four fame about how long did they think they were going to take back and take it. The drive could hold any number of devastating secrets about any number of mutants. Madeline uses her magic to attempt to open one of Krakoa's Cerebro drives. Stolen in Venom 14. On stands now, Jordan Dark Web White. Love a good editor's note. And so Madeline's trying to access Jean's memories using the Cerebro device, but it's not giving her permission to do that. And then we see Jean and Magic are in their status fields. And then we get great sequences of Teen Jean, but not that Teen Jean. And then a very young Ileana, pre-Limbo. And Ileana's like kicking Jean. He's like, wake up. Who are you? How did I get here? Ow. I don't know how we got here. Please don't kick me. Sorry, you promise you're not a goose kidnapper? Gross kidnapper. I promise, I'm Jean Grey. I'm Ileana. You're not Russian. Did you know Piotr? No, sorry. I don't know who that is. And we get this great moment of they're in front of a mansion and Matt Ileana picks up a stick. And so they're trying to make their way through. We see Sinister's eyeball. This was during the era where I was fine with seeing Sinister. And we see Sinister is manipulating them, or at least guarding them. And then Jean puts a switch and wall opens up and they gotta go into the scary red basement. And Ileana's like, you should have picked up a stick. She's so resourceful and so much fun. And then we get another data page. The Goblin Queen was already a powerful force by nature of her copied mutant powers. Jean Grey is a powerful telepath and telekinetic, and after magic turned the thorn of the demon realm Limbo over to her, she inherited many powerful spells. Cyclops and Havoc were separated from Magic and Jean Grey when they arrived in Limbo and Maddie set about to divide and conquer. She deployed her mutant gifts against the women and her spell books against the men. The outfit that she had Havoc placed into is another matter. It's probably indicative of her need to make the men feel the same shame she felt rightly or wrongly at their hands in the past. Life is messy and it's messier when you're a clone. Let's leave it at that. Some of you might be thinking, hey, why did Magic entrust Limbo to her anyway? That's not an unfair question, but let's see what things end up for Limbo at the end of the story. Right now, let's see how Summers brothers are doing with being magically held in check in Maddie's dungeon. So I love young Ileana in this, but then Madeline knows exactly how to defeat Cyclops by removing his visor, but then putting a bunch of puppies in front of his eyeballs. So he daren't open his eyes, otherwise he will optic blast these poor little puppies. So cute. And Havoc wastes no time being like trying to just connect with Madeline and completely defending her because he's a wife guy, as a fellow wife guy. Sometimes you just meet a strong, confident woman and you just want to devote yourself to her as much as you possibly can. And Madeline's gonna consider it. And just Phil Noto is just an amazing artist. I love his work so much. And then Apocalypse busts through on Team Jean and Ileana, and she just whacks him with a stick, exploding him, proving that she's the fittest to survive. And Team Jean's like, it's like being a nightmare, but it's not my nightmare. Not mine either. Probably should be trying a Russian accent, but perhaps I have been. And then the ladies come across Madeline Pryor being attacked by a bunch of bamfs who are usually cute. Maybe they're 50-50 cute, but they're being demonic here. Yoniana keeps hitting them with the stick, which is fun. Team Jean wants to make sure Madeline's fine. And we see now they're in a console room. And Madeline's like, hey, I need help opening this. And Ileana's like, I'll help you. And Madeline, without missing a beat's like, maybe your friend Jean can help. We see the Summers brothers chatting, and one of the puppies has found a visor and just going to take a nap next to it. Um, Alex is taking the moment to ask Scott about being put on the team, and Scott says how Alex isn't on the team to embarrass him. Um, like it's just hoping that their brothers can get back on the same page. And Scott reaches out to Jean telepathically. Teen Jean's gonna try to open the box, and in doing so, becomes her adult self and recognizes Madeline Pryor naturally. And he goes, making us think you've knocked back to before we had our gifts. Very unsporting. And Madeline says, how rich to be lectured on what is fair by Jean Grey. And Ileana pipes in, wait, do you know her? How do you get so big? Are you two sisters? Is there any ice cream in this dump or not? That's right, because Magic want or Ileana wanted some ice cream before. End this now, Maddie. And Maddie says, not until I get what I want. And then Jean raising her hand, people are going to hurt back home because of some problem you have with me. Well, then let's deal with this. You want to go? And then let's go. It just slaps the ever loving heck out of Madden Pride. And that's how we end the issue. And next issue, we're going to bring up my biggest plot issue with this entire crossover, but we'll get to that then. But probably a great Gene Madden issue next, but you won't be able to get to three without two. That's just how counting works. But yeah, Dark Web X-Men #2. I sort of love it. Let me know how you feel about it. Now let's get to these current X-Men comics of the day. X-Men 97 Season 2, Issue 2. We see Forge's Wild Mutants, but only the left side of it, so no Shadowcat appearance this issue. Jubilee and Sunspot are taking on an X-Force mission. They are looking for Caliban, so we get to see the Morlocks, which is cool. We also get to see Acolytes while down in the tunnels, including Amelia Vogt and Frenzy. We get a tease about Exodus. We also get Scott, Jean, and Teen Nathan in the future against Ahab, who Mother Ascani must hate. I like how this does fill in the gaps of the animated series thus far. But it's a fun issue. Uncanny X-Men 70, Volume 631. It might be time to let this Grey Mulkin prison plot drop. just getting silly now. So Ward and Ellis didn't know about the Wolverine initiative. Whoever's in charge was going to give mutants a discount adamantium plus claws, but not retractable claws. We're just getting silly now. 33 countries took away mutant rights, which I feel like would make a bigger news than the X-Men titles, but sure. Nightcrawler and Mackenzie are in space. I love how Kurt is so quick to drop Illyana's name and to use uncanny as an adjective. The aliens do not respond to Kurt or any of the name drops. Though, wasn't Xandra queen of the Shi'ar? I don't know. I do love cow litters so much. Jitter's minute is up, but they can still do the watts, but it's not a professional level of watts. But they truly are the best. Ransom, the Brood are attacking Ransom and Vig. The aliens took Nightcrawler are not working with the Brood. So Vig's mutant powers to bug out, maybe? Ransom doesn't want Gambit or Logan as he needs someone more thoughtful like Jubilee. That's pretty fun. Rutina is at the dance and wearing a very cute dress. Still has her mask on. I like her and Jubilee's chemistry. Right when I was wondering if Tina was ever an actress, she makes a craft services reference. So the aliens didn't kill Kurt but killed Vig? That's interesting. Rutina believes the Muir want the outliers dead. That's also interesting. Kurt escapes with Mackenzie, telling her to call the police, which she does. I do love that when she calls the police, they're like, "Oh, you're the one dating Nightcrawler." So that's fun. That's her um, reputation in town that she's Kurt's special friend. Becca finally gives Sophia, Jitter's real name, a name that I should be committing to memory, the toy alien, and Sophia loves it. Denor and you are not there for the outliers. The younglings they want are the newly hatched brood, as the school, of course, is built on a brood hive. This seems to be a perfect story for Loki to appear in now. Also fun that this sets up for wanting more brood, which we'll be getting in Aliens versus X-Men, at least in the X-Men the Kitty Pryde backup feature written by Chris Claremont, which I keep checking League of Comic Book Geeks, and they do not have a placeholder for Aliens versus X-Men yet, but I know I read that article, but makes me think if I've taken crazy pills. Jeff the Land Shark Superstar 1, written by Kelly Thompson, artist by Tohiko Koro, color artist Jim Campbell, letter VC's Joe Caramagna, and I got the variant cover by Ryan Gonzalez, the cover that had like the paper doll cover. Because I don't know, ever since I was a little kid and you get the paper doll page of a magazine and like I would never cut it out because I was also the kid that never put stickers from the sheet onto a page. Um, unless that page specifically said put sticker A on spot A, then I'll do that. But I never randomly just put stickers on things. That's the type of kid, right? This was a very fun first issue. Reading the recap, I had no idea MODOK created Jeff the Land Shark. I should probably look into that. Mojo is looking for some talent. He went to the Spider route, then the Wolverine route, and then landed on Jeff Coast's Avengers, which is fun. We see the members are Dazzle Storm, Elsa Strange, Kate Locke, a mix with Kate Locke and Psylocke, Man, part machine, all Wolverine, Rambit, Jeff, and my favorite, Magic Shot. She's scorching hot. It's in her name. She's naturally a combination of magic and shatter shot. Um, we learned this isn't actually Jeff because we catch up to Jeff on Earth and a giant tentacle monster is attacking. Jeff is being me right now when I'm trying to work from home and watch some TV, and the lawnmower guy shows up and makes all the sound. And then the X-Men arrive consisting of both Wolverine, Storm, Armor, and Psylocke. Logan hits the window and threatens if Jeff doesn't help soon, Logan will personally come in and get him to help, which is odd as what can Jeff do? But as we see, he can do so much. Ken, the little purple squid pal, wants to come, but Gwenpool left a note specifically stating Ken is too young for this business. Jeff resists, but eventually does bring Ken along. I like how once the fight's over, Gwenpool repeats the note. We get Spyro during the Mojo pages, which is great, and the issue ends with her grabbing the real Jeff. So, great start. Wolverine Volume 823, Logan versus Taskmaster Part 2. Taskmaster keeps getting the upper hand, but Dr. Cecilia Reyes arrives to knock Taskmaster out. She's able to turn off the teleporting healing factor, but it ends up going back to a guy in Seattle. This guy is a Department H scientist who stole a bunch of tech issues ago, so it's sort of cool to see the subplot come to a fruition. Logan can't kill him as the feedback loop will destroy the healing factor. Like, sure. He still had to give it to his dying wife, but he wanted to test it on himself first, which is a good thing as it's messing up his body. Logan threatens him and he turns into a small blue Hulk as the issue ends. I really like that Logan wanted to kill a knocked out Taskmaster, but Dr. Reyes stops him as he is her patient now and she has to protect all of her patients. Um, yeah. Next week, we'll be doing Inferno Hulk 9, X-Men Volume 733, Inglorious X-Force 7 that we saw the preview pages has both Cyclops, so Daddy's home, and Quentin Quire, so we'll see if Magic shows up. And Avengers Armageddon 2, see if that issue excites us. Oh, and issue episode 5 of nope, of X-Men 97 as well as Dark Web X-Men 3. So it should be a good episode, I think. In the top X comics of 2026, we're still leading with Magic Colossus 5, but at number 2, Marvel's Swimsuit Special Brand New Beach Day. 3, Moonstar 4, Inferno Hulk 7. At 5, X-Men United 1, with consideration for 4, issue 4. Number 6, Avengers Volume 934 with Kitty Pryde. 7, Generation X-23 1 or Shadow of Apocalypse Shadow Count. X-Men 97 Season 2 Issue 1. Sorcerer Supreme 3. And we're rounding out the list with Jay and Silent Bob, Jay's a Future Past. So that, everyone, was episode 237 of Shadow and Playing of Magic. Thank you so much for listening or watching. And you follow me on most socials at JackoSII. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at SNFWM and on Blue Sky as well, though I need to do better about using it for more than just posting. Well, I don't know. I gotta start posting the links to the latest episodes on the Blue Sky account. Like I should at least be doing that. Um, it just feels silly to do it, but how is you gonna promote it unless you promote it, right? Speaking of promotion, if you, well, see, this is the part I was thinking about earlier in the episode, but like, hey, you want me to be on your podcast? You want on the podcast? Let me know. Can start booking you in September, probably. Um, I think it's only like $17 a month, but that seems like so much for all the times I don't have a guest. And then I'm like, well, let me pay for it the time I do have a guest. And then, the summertime is just tight. I know, and I keep having this itch to buy comics online. Where I'm like, no, wait until October. Come on. It's the responsible thing to do. Anyways, so let me hover over here on the stop button. Um, yeah, here we go. All right, everyone. So thank you so much for listening or watching. And as always, please don't have any shadows of doubt. Ignite those flames and make like magic and have a great rest of your week. And I will talk to you next time. All right, everyone. Oh, and go to shadowplayingwithmagic.com if you want to read my thoughts. And until next time, bye.